When life throws you a curveball, how are you going to handle adversity? Welcome to the Fearless Mindset Podcast, where you're about to go on a journey as I interview security, business, and entertainment leaders on what it takes to stay fearless. I'm your host, Mark Ledlow, and enjoy today's episode.
It seems like this just keeps on becoming more billionaires and more billionaires by different technology creates new economies, and that's kind of what we're seeing in Florida. You're seeing that major explosion of tech and new ways of doing business, and it's kind of crazy right now. It's just like there's more billionaires ever before than probably in U.S. history, I'm guessing, because of technology.
Yeah, it's blown up big time. It's blown up big time. And Miami was on its way to becoming the next technical hub. Then AI has exploded. And the AI boom is based in the Silicon Valley again. It's based in San Francisco, up around those universities. So you're going to see AI regenerate parts of Silicon Valley in California. I think you're going to see a lot of folks who are looking for tax benefits on their businesses leave or headquarter in places like Texas and Florida and Tennessee. Nashville's the next big area that is starting to see some uptick in a lot of this movement because it's cheap, it's central, and it's a nice place that offers a lot of the things that people want. Miami's crowded, it's expensive, it's getting as expensive as California to be here in California or be here in Florida right now. So the big thing is the corporations are getting breaks. People are getting breaks on their taxes to a certain degree, but there's the other side is there's other taxes that take those places. But I think when it comes to talent, when it comes to the accessibility of the collaboration to make things work, people are going to major university areas where this technology is being emergent. And right now it's being emergent up in the Silicon Valley. You're going to see San Francisco get a benefit from some of this. Miami was getting a lot of the crypto people for a while. Crypto went bust. So I don't know what happened to those people, but they're still around.
So you see a surge in Miami becoming another Southern California, LA. The culture, the business, the robustness, the growth, the tax break. And I can see California resurging again in Silicon Valley. Yeah,
I mean, you look at Bezos. Bezos is moving here, right? Originally he's from Miami, apparently, but why would you move suddenly from a place that you've been, other than for tax purposes, right? You move down here. There's a lot of people that are moving down here to beat the taxes and to headquarter their corporations down here because they're sheltered from those taxes, or they get tax breaks. I look at, I'm trying to think of some of the other high net worth people that are moving here. But, for some people, it aligns politically with them. They're tired of where they're at.
Sure.
For other people, they're leaving the state and going back to the states that they came from because they find it's hostile to them here, right? So, I mean, it goes both ways.
Sure.
It's like in this business, you're going to see changes that are going to continue. The driving point is going to be these ultra large companies that bought up these medium sized companies are causing some pricing issues. I mean, they have high overhead, and it's going to be whether or not some of these companies that are upcoming, like your company, can you pivot and provide the service and take the space that these guys have left, the business space that these guys have left, or they're not doing well anymore, right? And take their share of that market again. And we're seeing some companies that are starting to come back. Some guys that sold off their companies and now they're looking at it and saying, well, the space that we sold you gave up again. And now we're going to come back and take it with another company. And I think you're going to see that resurgence to a certain degree.
The vacuum effect.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've been so busy this year. I mean, we're ahead of last year's number. First quarter. And it's like people have seen us, all the marketing and the podcast thing. I'm sure that's helping. But I think that return a call is that simple, return a call. And I talked to clients that I had, they go, yeah, we called XYZ company. We'll get back to you in a couple of days. This is the security industry. Oh, we have to have general counsel's permission to move forward. This is the security industry. They need it now. Not tomorrow. Yeah. And that's what we hear, the quick response being a boutique and agile, we can roll out pretty quick. We don't need anybody's permission. And look, you're right. I think everybody's going to kind of research, and this is going to be the year of prosperity for security industry because all the variables that are happening in the environment we're in. So and then getting into the protective intelligence space, which is what we're going to go into here soon. Find the right analyst and then put them on our roster and grow that program as well. What do you see as the new emerging countries that no one's talking about that are going to become players in new economies?
I mean, it's hard to say new countries that are becoming emergent. I mean, Mexico is always a dynamic area. You're seeing the diversification of people's supply chains away from China into Vietnam, into Indonesia, into other parts of countries. India is going to be a huge country for this kind of work. We do a lot of business in India. It's a big business area for us, but the countries that are starting to take the benefit of this, South Korea is sucking this up. Japan is now reigniting its chip industry. It sees a vacuum where it could come in. You're going to see it. You're going to see a move to places like Vietnam and in places like that where this technology is going to be key to the vitalization of not only their country but their workforce. People are scared of China. China's making a lot of moves right now under their quote unquote National Security Act. And no Western company wants to be under the scrutiny and have to give everyone the back door to the keys to their, to the house, right? To the Chinese government, because it's not to their benefit, number one. But the Chinese government's, creating a situation where they're trying to become self-dependent and break away from the West. They don't have to worry about the technology. And, in respects, they've done very well for themselves in providing the ability for their people to grow and to create that technology. But the Communist Party is going to end up killing their economy. They're going to end up killing their business there. And nobody wants to invest in a place where their CEO might go there for a visit and be held hostage, where they're not allowed to do the conference thing. So even the auditing firms, the big auditing firms that are there are finding out that they're in the crosshairs. Because they're doing due diligence work for American corporations, right? To make sure that what American corporations are investing is the real deal. And now they're being touched under this National Intelligence Act that the Chinese have. So I think you're going to see a lot of people get away from China. A lot of people are trying to get away from being under that level of scrutiny. It's a great place to do business because you can make a lot of money there. But I think there's going to be a focus on getting India into the same place and providing the ability there to have a market there. So, we'll see, as things emerge, but.
Wild. I never thought of that.
Yeah. Yeah. The National Security Act in China, I'm just reading an article out of Nikkei Asia, which is it's a Japanese publication that keeps track of all the news in the area. They've been talking about a lot of the things that are going on out there. So it's going to be, it's going to be interesting to see what happens, in the industry. But I think when you see a lot of the technology, a lot of the things that's going on, the U.S. is still leading in a lot of areas, but for how long, I don't know.
But for how long exactly? That's a great point. And then we got our risk factors with cyber really hitting hard the last few weeks on the U.S. from whoever that's coming from. And then, of course, all the people coming over the border, who knows who those folks are. And we have our own messes we got to clean up here. You're also involved with in the mentorship program. You've been on that committee for a while. It's a volunteer. Plus, your other full-time work hours at Oracle. I don't know how you do it, but you have a big heart to serve others. And shout out to Jen for your introduction, to have her on the podcast as well. And I admire your passion and your heart just to serve the industry like you do.
Yeah, I think what we look at here is that there needs to be the ability to bring people up into the organizations, and especially people that are entrepreneurs that need some help with directing their business. So mentorship to me, it's like you're growing the next generation, right? To come in and take over the business, and hopefully, they're smarter than you are in certain aspects, and you can provide a certain level of experience. Or in this case, my network, I was able to make that introduction to you for certain business things I don't do, right? That they're asking me questions about. You do them. Other people that I've spent or two do different things than what you do. It's just not my wheelhouse. So, I think it's important that we mentor people and we bring people up in the industry correctly. So you don't have a bunch of wild, wild west people cutting each other's throats and climbing over the dead bodies to get up to the next level. And all they're doing is leaving turmoil and hate and discontent in the business.
Right. Well said. Well said. Yeah, I'm a firm believer we got to lift each other up because life is hard enough as it is.
Yeah. And there's plenty of business to go around for everybody. And, I don't know that anybody, who thinks that they can continue to get bigger and bigger and have the same satisfaction, the same impact that they did as a medium-sized company, let's say, or a large company. When you start taking over other people's businesses, in some respects, hopefully it's a big plus. But I just talked to a friend of mine who thought he was, he got bought out. He thought he was, getting a big deal. He went for almost a year and everything was good. And then one day, the senior partner, who's bought out the majority of his business, comes to him and says, "We're reorganizing the company. And by the way, your position's been discontinued. So your job is no longer here. You're not going to be with the company anymore. This is your severance package," which wasn't very much. "Have a nice day." So the company, this guy spent 2 years building with another guy up in the Bay Area. He now no longer owns his own company anymore, and he no longer has the benefits of having employment. So
just like that.
Yeah. So, those are the things that I think people don't realize is that some of these partnerships out here, they're not as beneficial as they seem to be. But, I've been fortunate. I've worked for big corporations, since I got out of the government. I've had stability. I've had, a parachute basically the whole time. I worked for a good chief security officer who's very, very connected, very like-minded in what things need to be done. And then my boss is a former retired, or he's not a former retired, he's a retired U.S. Marshal who's a former protection guy. He understands the business very, very intimately. And he also understands running a program and budgeting. So, for me, it's been very good. I'm not in your guys' business where I'm an entrepreneur and I'm doing my own thing out there, constantly generating business. And I'm not built like that. So, God bless you guys. I understand where you're at, but I also understand that, this business is going to continue to pivot and pivot and pivot, and the expectations from clientele are still going to be there for instantaneous contact. But, there comes a point where how far can you cut the budget and still provide proper services and still make money?
That's a great question. And we see it happen this year. I've submitted a couple proposals and, hey, you're way too high. I'm like, the market rate's this. You're still too high. I'm like, the market is this, and we got to pay the agents that. We got to make money, or otherwise I'm a charity. And especially, dealing with California laws and different state laws, you got to play by their rules. And a lot of companies try to skirt that, but you got to play by the rules. And it makes it hard being a business owner.
I ironically, what I see down here is the security industry, especially the licensing piece I shouldn't say the industry, but the licensing piece is a lot more strict than it is in California, which I was kind of shocked.
Wow. That's impressive.
Because I had been told this was the Wild West. And when I get here, I find out, well, it's very well regulated. Yeah, there's still some companies that operate outside where they should, but
sure,
it's just kind of a little bit different than California in that respect. But I think in the long run, Mark, what we're looking at here is that you're going to see companies that are going to thrive. They're providing, not only are they providing training, they're providing protective intelligence, they're providing other things just other than security guards and executive protection agents and RST work and security drivers kind of thing, right? They're going to thrive. They're going to have to be diversified and offer a product line, for your client anymore. And, the people I see that are being successful right now, that's what they're doing. They have a boutique of things that they can offer. So
that's what you got to do to survive, and any business has to do that. Like if you were not going online and just sticking on brick and mortar retail, guess what? You just got crushed because Amazon just took over. It's a great analogy of, diversifying your portfolio of service offerings to those clients. Like, I'm looking at getting in the intelligence side of space, partnering with like Red 5, for example, for the cyber. They have some agency folks that work with them. So shout out to Chris Coleman over there at Red 5. And I've known him for many, many years through Mike Trott. And Mike Trott in his book, The Protected, I think you even read it. He even says that, the future of this industry is intelligence. And Mike was with the CIA and with that program for many years. And that's just where it's heading. No longer just providing a body agent service. It's so much more beyond that. You have to, if you want to stay relevant. That's what I'm finding out running our company.
If you look at Pete Morton and his company, Morton Decision, he's very, very good at this type of work, and he also provides a lot of protective intelligence information for his clientele and for decision making, right? But he also he's developed an application, that you can use. That'll give you a lot of the insights, give you reporting, and it also gives you the ability for him to filter you the information that you need in real time for threat analysis and for decision making about your work, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's services that are out there. There are people that are out there. And what I see is there's a lot of people like yourself who are partnering with other people because it's cost effective and it's economical, right?
Makes sense.
But it still also gives you the ability to provide those services to a clientele without having to take on the extra overhead.
Exactly. You have to have the cash flow coming in to support the overhead. And, when you have many details going on, you gotta get your agents paid. That's the cash flow issue with running a boutique agency. And so, but yeah, partnerships are crucial. The way I look at it is you have to reach out to folks that are smarter than you. Like Chris, he knows a lot of guys over there in DC who work with the government, and they're really good at what they do. And the spoof side of things. And I think, like you just mentioned with Oracle and stuff, and you have to be in that intel side, and that's going to be the clients are going to demand it. You guys demand it being Oracle. You guys demand it by your vendors to do it. You demand you have to have it. Otherwise, you can't work with each other.
Yeah. And I think, what we find is when we find a strategic partnership with a particular security company that we work with, especially in executive protection or protective intelligence, if as long as they're providing good service, then we'll continue to do business with them. But it's super important for us right now in order to do that, because when we are doing the advanced work we're doing now for the client we have, you have to have that level of confidence that what the information you're getting is the best you can have. Because you're planning your events around it, you're planning certain events around it, you're planning certain security requirements, certain additions with subtractions of manpower as a result of that. So I think protective intelligence is a key area that people need to be including in their advanced work, their considerations for their client and client travel. The other thing too is, and you see a lot of the ultra high net worth people have them. There's, they're collecting intelligence around where they live, around their businesses, to see who's showing up on a regular basis around them. And then you have the protective intelligence people that take that information, and then they run it through a program to see if there's patterns. And, those are things that can save you a lot of heartache later on down the road.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I've been seeing more and more people with working the high net worth family offices and estate stuff, and now they're starting to scrub that stuff now. They have to. You got to know who's working on your property, and that's a new space as well. It used to be EP agents for corporations and celebrities, but now we're looking at EP for folks like yourselves at Oracle and many other institutions that are growing and serving government needs and all that type of thing. Is there any advice you can give to the younger agents out there that are trying to figure out what they want to do? And there's an allure of what EP is, and there's the reality of what EP is not. And I think people, there's some YouTube people do some fun training and cool shooting and all that.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Can you give them some advice on how to break in and be successful and get jobs when they may be putting some stupid stuff on their social media?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen, the groups that, and we all know who they are, that are doing the high speed training, the moving, shooting, communicating, the physical encounter type of, bodyguard stuff. There's a place for that, right? And those people, the vast majority of them that I know of that I follow just because I want to see what people are doing, they're good people, and their heart's in the right place, and they're doing it because people are buying their product, right?
Absolutely.
But I think for new people, what they have to understand is that they need to get into a good executive protection school and pay the money. Some of them offer, if you're a former military guy, they offer GI Bill funding for you to go to their academy. Go to somebody that's recognized and then network through that particular organization to find your first job and start learning. Working RST, nobody really wants to work RST. I shouldn't say that. There are people who do like working RST.
Right,
but
sure.
But learn the business from the ground up. And one of the reasons why I left the Marshal Service, as high up as I was in the Marshal Service, and went and started from the ground up with Gavin DeBecker, was I wanted to learn the business from the ground up. I wanted to learn how the business works. How does decisions get made? What do policies look like? Why are you doing this? Why are you using this particular equipment? Why are you using this sonar? Why are you using this particular, alarm system? Why are you doing, this kind of foot patrol? Why are you doing this kind of foot formation? Those kinds of things. Because in the government, you have big resources and you have the force of the U.S. government behind you. When you start working in some of these other things, you no longer have the protection of the law. You're not being protected by big government. You're now being protected by a corporation, which may or may not be good. So for me, break in, be humble, learn the business from the ground up, be a business savvy, because in the end, as you go up, you're running a business. No matter I don't care what it is, you're running the business. You need to learn how to do manpower allocation, scheduling. You need to learn what budget is. You need to learn how to do the people management side of the house, and you need to learn to develop social skills and a high IQ, intelligent IQ, for social situations, because that's where your relationships are made. It's the average person that's running ultra high net worth person's estate is another person on the other side. They're not carrying guns. They're not responsible for security, but they're responsible for all the other service components.
Yeah.
And you have to make friends with that person. You don't have to like them, but you have to make friends with that person so that you can do your job, because they hold the key. And those are the kinds of things. Once people start learning that, they start learning the EP business, start being a security driver, start doing protection work. as long as they get the experience and the basis, they're going to be successful if they have drive, right?
Right.
But, this is a service industry, and
Totally
the byproduct service industry is customer service with a security edge to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're still going to do those concierge level things where you're going to carry the dry clean for your client and put it in, or put the suitcases up in there, or you're gonna be looking someplace on the ground where you're at, so that when they get in at a certain period of time, what restaurants are open that they'll eat at, and is it in a good location? Is it good food? And it's just things like that. And you might be making them reservations.
Logistics, planning.
Yeah, exactly.
And people forget, logistics and planning is part of EP. Get it from point A to point B. That's part of EP.
The cornerstone.
I don't carry bags. I don't carry things. I don't hold things. Like, I guess you'll be working. That's what you do now. Exactly. The service industry, like you said. And I think that macho alpha male, not alpha male, but alpha personality. I don't do that. Well, you won't be working. It's a service attitude as well. And I think people forget that.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't want to carry bags, go to work in the government. That's not your responsibility to carry bags. And when you're doing EP work in private industry, it's part of your responsibility to make sure things get done, make sure the baggage shows up where it's supposed to, make sure that the baggage is compromised or stolen, right?
Yeah.
Which is another big issue, right? Accountability, security of not only your clients, but their space, but their goods. So, to me, I think if you're going to be in this business, you're going to have to be very service-minded. You're going to have to be on top of the fact that you're going to have to learn how to do the security in the business, right? How to be an EP agent, how to do proper advances, how to do proper formations and security, and what needs to be done for when your client moves.
That's so true. Yeah, when I went to the EP course, I thought we had 2 or 3 agents in one principal. When I started in Southern California, like, no, you're it. I'm like, huh? Oh, I'm the driver and EP agent? Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's no, if you're a security driver, your job's to drive. That's one of the things we teach people when they work for us. If you're the limo guy, your job's to drive. Your job's not to do luggage. Your job's not to do anything but drive. Be securely aware of what's going on.
Yeah.
If you're getting out of the car, it means the client's no longer in it and you're being relieved properly, or you're done for the night, or it's an emergency. The vehicle is incapacitated, and we're leaving the vehicle to go to the secondary vehicle to load up.
Easy enough.
Yeah.
Well, folks, it was a pleasure having Bill on. I don't want to take up all his time. He's got a lot of stuff to do with Oracle and everything else he does, being a dad and husband there in Florida. But I just wanted you guys to hear from Bill's perspective, working at Oracle and his, career journey on what he's been through, what he sees, and where he sees the future of this industry going. And if you want to follow him, he's on LinkedIn, and I think that's the only thing he has is LinkedIn. I don't think he's anywhere else. I think he's on Facebook, but just LinkedIn. And I'm sure if you want to reach out to him for advice and all that, you probably have to go through the As Is mentorship program. They have a program over there that he's very involved with. And with that said, I think we'll wrap this up. Any other advice, suggestions, Bill, before we call it a day on this?
No, I mean, if you're going to be in this business, be humble, be a learner, be curious, be inquisitive, educate yourself about how things work and how your company works, what their policies are. And then, realize that there's people out there that'll help you. All you got to do is ask. I found out if I just reach out to somebody and say, hey, do you have time to talk? I've got a question about X. I found there's a lot of people that are actually willing to give you their time to help you out. So, wish everybody the best of luck, and I hope everybody has a really great year. We're a couple months into the year already. Hopefully everybody has a successful and safe year and stays healthy.
Yeah, stay healthy. Don't catch COVID in Las Vegas. Be stuck in a hotel for 3 weeks like I did. That was not fun. That sucked. But anyway, folks, thanks for listening, tuning in, and please follow us on all the podcast platforms. Give us a 5-star rating. Hit the like button on YouTube, and that'll help with the algorithms. And thanks for tuning in. And we have announcements on the Fearless Mindset Retreat Mixer we're going to be doing. We have Brian James, former with FRB. He'll be joining us. We're planning that event. And we'll keep you updated on social media on when that's going to happen, probably a few months out from now. But looking forward to seeing many of you in the Bay Area, and then some of you also at the Retreat Mixer, and probably in Vegas and in Texas. So stay tuned for that information, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Fearless Mindset Podcast.